Hi, this is Les-Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. For all of you Indians naysayers who scoffed at the team on their schedules, keep in mind while the Indians were sweeping the hapless Detroit Tigers, beating them for the 15th time in 16 tries, the Twins were doing about the same thing to the White Sox, keeping the Indians from chopping into their 3.5-game lead. Now it's off to Tampa for Cleveland, where they'll try to protect their wild card lead over the Rays while protecting themselves from Hurricane Dorian. I'm not sure which is going to be easier. Mac Robinson is here tonight. More Sports and Les-Levine is on the air. From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les-Levine, it's a Thursday night. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les-Levine, soon to be in its 24th consecutive year and seen exclusively on cleveland.com. Mac Robinson is here from the Orange and Brown Report, and that means one thing, football.
Yeah.
Welcome. Making your maiden voyage here exclusively in the studio.
Thank you. It's nice to be here. It's nice to be out of the office at home and actually in the studio. I appreciate you having me on, Les.
Well, no Skype, nothing electrical, nobody.
Yeah.
I can't mess it up. We'll just talk some football, but I want to talk about a couple of other things. The Indians a winner today by a score of 2-0 over the hapless. Is there a better word than hapless?
I can't think of any right now.
Yeah.
I can't think of any right now because when it comes to the Detroit Tigers so far this season, the Indians have really just dominated from start to finish. I mean, obviously, like you mentioned, winning 15 out of 16, it's hard to beat that. It's hard to top that.
How'd they lose that one game?
I don't know. I think that they might have.
A long time ago.
Yeah, it might have been sick. I can't remember at that point.
Yeah. All right, Clevenger was terrific today. 2-0 the final score. Brad Hand gets a 7-pitch save. Here's the rundown. 2-7-0 for the Indians, 0-4-0 for the hapless Detroit Tigers. I don't think I can say Detroit Tigers without saying hapless in front of them. Clevenger goes 8 innings, 10 Ks. Brad Hand gets the save. He's sort of back on the track, right?
Yeah, and that's been the nice thing that you've really seen from Hand has really been the second half struggles a little bit for him, especially in the recent weeks. And, for the Indians, they need to make sure that they have that on track and have him on track if they want to make a postseason run.
All right, tell me what the Orange and Brown Report is and your involvement in it.
So I've been with the Orange and Brown Report since the beginning of the month, 1st of August here. And basically, we are the home for the people who are passionate about Browns coverage. And not just for the run-of-the-mill stories that you see every day, but the stories about the depth guys, about the guys that you really need to worry about if there is an injury, or go ahead and go through all the roster 1 to 53. So we take care of all of those and really create a home and an environment for all Browns fans to really be welcome.
You say 1 to 53. Is it fair to say that 1 to 48 will be safe and another 5 will come in, 5 or 6 will come in, or do you think it's different this year because there is more talent here now?
I think that when you're talking about some of those later guys, I mean, even like a Jalen Strong who was cut a couple days ago, you go ahead and you see that these guys are going to be able to be productive on other teams and they will have roles on other teams.
That wasn't the case for a long time.
Yeah, no. A lot of times it was the Browns that were taking on some of those guys at the bottom of other teams' rosters.
All right, so the Browns made a deal today. Significant or not significant? Let's put it up and we'll see what we're talking about here. The Browns and the Bills have agreed to a trade. Wyatt Teller comes here, 6'5". He's a big guy, 6'5", 308, and he was a 5th-round pick in 2018 by the Bills. Started at left guard in the final 7 games as a rookie, so a couple of questions. If you look at the profile, it looks like there's something there. What am I missing?
Basically, it was just a lot of depth pieces when you're talking about the Buffalo Bills. And for the Browns, I mean, obviously giving up a 5th and a 6th-round pick is definitely huge to be trading for a depth guy as was described by the Bills. But as well, he's a very powerful run blocker. And he's a very powerful blocker in general as well. And that's really been his style since coming out of Virginia Tech. And for the Browns, they're hoping that James Campen, the new offensive line coach, can really work on his technique to help balance out him as a pass blocker.
Does this say anything about Teller, or does it say anything about a weakness that we've talked about with the Browns line?
I think it's a weakness. I think that for
Weakness
the Browns,
of the Browns line?
Yes, I think that especially at that right guard position and in the interior, you saw it last week especially against Tampa Bay. But on top of that as well, you also have seen a little bit of issues when it comes to the tackles as well. Kendall Lamb seems like he's a lock, but also Teller has a little bit of experience at tackle as well. So there's a possibility to have him be a little bit more versatile in that regard.
All right, so a red flag goes up, and I hope it doesn't go up on the Browns line because that's a 15-yard penalty, 10-yard penalty. But what does it mean that he was available? What does it mean the Browns were taking the first available lineman that came up, or is that a guy they've been watching for a while?
I would say that it's definitely something they've been watching for a while. I think that, especially too, in doing a little bit of research before coming on with you as well, taking a look at the Draft Network and the way that they look at him as well, they viewed him as a third-round pick for when it comes to his talent. So, I mean, for Teller, he was somebody who fell a little bit, and I think the Browns look at it that they can go ahead, coach him up a little bit, and really end up getting a gem out of this.
All right, so guys looking over their shoulder, obviously?
Yeah, I think so. I think you're taking a look at Brian Witzman, who's been one of the depth pieces as well for this team. And honestly, I think that you're taking a look at Kyle Kalis from out of St. Edward as well as Michigan. He's somebody who's a little bit of a depth guy who kind of played that interior guard role.
Max, shouldn't this line situation be resolved by now? Is it a concern that it isn't?
A little bit for me, I would say, especially replacing a guy like a Kevin Zeitler, who was rated as one of the best guards in the NFL, and you're going ahead and you're having a little bit of a competition that's lasted beyond where I would feel comfortable having it at this point. And even too, you have a Drew Forbes who has come along pretty well, but despite that, he also came up from lesser competition. So you'd like to have him be more of a developmental guy.
All right, you've got game number 4, thank goodness. Tonight you get it over with. I've hated exhibition games forever. Tell me what we expect to see, if anything, tonight.
I mean, it looks like it's going to be Garrett Gilbert starting tonight at quarterback. You shouldn't see any of the starters, but a lot of what you're going to see tonight is going to be film for guys who might be roster pickups on other teams, like we mentioned. And on top of that, too, there's also still the last few spots at wide receiver. I'm taking a look at the cornerbacks and even safeties as well for some of those depth guys and depth pieces on this team. And on top of that, too, I think that you're also looking at some of the defensive line pieces, because this is one of the deepest positions on this team. There will be guys who could possibly be starters. You're looking at Trevin Coley, who started most of the season last year, who could be cut after this game. So you're looking at a lot of depth pieces on this team that really can make an impact elsewhere.
I didn't hear you mention Braxton Miller.
Braxton Miller is another one who's interesting. When we're talking about the wide receivers, he's somebody who I've kept my eye on, and really, especially after the Jalen Strong cut, he's somebody who you have to watch, especially tonight, especially because of the fact that he adds more in the special teams aspect.
Do you think there's anything to it that they released Strong 2 or 3 days earlier than they had to or wanted to do, so they could give a chance to Braxton Miller, or am I off on that thinking?
I think that for the Browns, it was, especially after that Tampa Bay game, I think
when he was not good. Strong.
Yeah, I think that the issue that he had was separating from the defensive backs. And not only that, too, you also look at the fact that when it comes to Freddie-Kitchens, he's talked about he's going to focus on not only the offense, but also special teams. That will be a focus for this team. And Jalen Strong did not offer anything in that regard when we talk about special teams. Braxton Miller, however, has a little bit of experience when it comes to as a return man, and he could offer more in that regard as well.
If it's not him, if it's not Braxton Miller, who is the return man? Is it Giuseppe?
I don't know if it's Giuseppe. I think that, honestly, I would probably say Dearness Johnson. Dearness Johnson has really earned a role in that regard and really shown that he's extremely explosive. The issue that I have with Shea Giuseppe is because he doesn't really offer much on the offensive side. He's he's really raw as a receiver, so I don't know if he's quite there yet. He might not necessarily make an impact on the Browns, but I think he makes an impact in the NFL.
Well, is he a candidate for the practice squad, or is it more release him and somebody else might give him a shot?
I think somebody else is going to give him a shot. I think that there's other teams in the NFL that need a return man that really you could see that opportunity going over to him, contrary where you don't necessarily need him to perform on offense, and basically using that as well as the great story that he has as well.
Well, he's a great story, and the Browns did their obligation on this, if there was an obligation. It's a great story all around.
Yes, absolutely.
But it doesn't have to go further than this.
Yeah. For the Browns, it doesn't have to go forward, but at the same time, I do think that another NFL team picks him up.
Do you think the Browns have been working on this play where Braxton Miller catches the ball at the 5, runs out to about the 25, turns and throws it all the way across the field to the wide open guy in front of the Browns bench, hopefully wearing an orange helmet?
Oh yeah, no, of course. I think that they have him working on that right now in place of Odell Beckham, because I think that that's going to be what you end up seeing in the season.
Right. 216-575-0403 is the number to call if you want to talk to Mac Robinson, who is here. He covers the Browns for the Orange and Brown Report, does a terrific job. And they told me he was millennial at the height of millennialness. Is that correct?
A little bit. I haven't quite had avocado toast yet, but I mean, I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
I was on 92.3 The Fan last week, and they gave me the millennial test, and I think I scored like 2 points on it.
Yeah, I don't think I've completely gone full millennial, but I'm getting close. I'm getting close.
And by the way, I'll be back on they're going to let me back, believe it or not, on 92.3 The Fan. That'll be tomorrow. I'll be in with Andy Baskin, and Jeff Phelps will have the day off. 216-575-0403. Lines open if you'd like to get in. You could also email us during the show at real-les-levine@gmail.com. And, of course, if you want to pop in some How Come Quickies, you are more than welcome to do that, which we read at the end of the show. So the Indians are winner today, 2-0, and they remain 3.5 games behind I can't believe that Minnesota is still hanging in. I understand they're playing the same bad teams Cleveland is, but they're hanging in.
Yeah, and that's been the biggest thing, too, is that those bats have not cooled off one bit so far in the second half of the season.
Explore your interests and find a program that puts you on the path to a bright future at Tri-C. And, of course, Tri-C offers more than 1,000 courses and over 140 career and technical programs. Go to tric.edu to find out more information. More Sports and Les-Levine continues in a moment exclusively on cleveland.com. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/more-sports-and-les-levine with new content posted each and every day. Now we'll come back in a moment. Mac Robinson is with us. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino now has sports betting. Use one of the 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet. Then, watch your favorite games on our new HD televisions or visit our new sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program has been recognizing role model students and teachers since 2007. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Supporting Education. There, you can nominate students in kindergarten through 12th grade as academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as the Teacher of the Month. Every school that participates is eligible for the School of the Year. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
All right, there's the Browns running game. That's the quintessential answer to when you or I or other people in the media go out to Browns camp and somebody will say, well, how'd they look? Well, how can you look bad when they're letting you score on every play, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can't really go full go with tackles and everything
No.
like that too. But I mean, hey, Freddie's been letting them hit.
Yeah. All right. So we want to talk about the Browns running game now that, of course, Duke Johnson is not here. He's now the first string running back. How'd that happen?
Yeah, that's
At
Lamar
Houston.
Miller's injury history for you.
Yeah. All right. So now you're breaking some news here, or the Browns broke some news in the running back department. Give it to us.
Yeah, so Kareem Hunt actually had a hernia surgery, and the team announced that he's expected to be fully recovered by week 10 when he comes back.
All right. Let's be honest. Does that sound right to you at first glance?
I mean, I think so. I think so. Maybe an injury popped up in practice, but I think that's about spot on.
All right. Well, we'll wait and see if anything else develops on that. I found it strange, though, that they would let, you let some people be at practice and in the practice room, in the team rooms, but in this case, they wouldn't let them on the field.
Yeah, and the one thing that I will say, too, is that you also have the suspensions that have the NFL announced that Antonio Callaway is going to be allowed at the he will be allowed
At
in
the
the facility.
facility, yeah.
And in the same way that Josh Gordon was, but then you look at Kareem Hunt will not be allowed.
What do you
in
think?
that-
That's
in that
an
case.
additional punishment to Hunt, or
mean,
what?
I mean, I think that it might be a little bit more of a stronger stance on it because
of what it was?
Yeah, because it was domestic violence at that point.
Right.
So, and in the same way, Antonio Callaway was, I believe it was performance enhancing. I think it
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
But yeah, so different kind of suspension. So, but at the same time too, if the guy needs the locker room, the guy needs the locker room.
Okay.
So.
Dearness Johnson is he the number 2 guy now on the running back roster?
Dontrell Hilliard has looked very strong throughout this offseason, but honestly, Dearness Johnson has really impressed me. And he talked about it. I asked him during his press conference last week that what has he really been trying to improve the most? And it's really been his pass blocking, which has really shown. And Freddie-Kitchens actually mentioned that first with him. That's what really got him noticed. And he's really impressed me, and he's shown his quickness as well, bursting out of the hole as well.
All right. Let's play ideal circumstances here.
Okay.
In an ideal world, what are the Browns? Are they a passing team? Are they a running team? Are they a defensive team? What are they?
I think that they are going to be a running team that sets up the passing game because Nick Chubb has looked fantastic throughout training camp, and really he's looked even more explosive. He's looked even more natural hitting the hole, and also too, he's the more underrated aspect of this is that he's looked a lot better as a pass catcher. And I know that's not really how Georgia used him coming out of college, but at the same time, he's really looked natural in that role, and I think that that will have defenses coming up towards the line of scrimmage, which will allow you to go ahead and utilize a Rashard Higgins, an Odell Beckham, and even a Jarvis-Landry.
In almost everything, timing is everything. If there isn't the hernia injury to Hunt, maybe the whole thing with Johnson doesn't happen.
Yeah, and that's the one thing too that I would say is that Johnson really has taken advantage of that kind of an opportunity even as well. I think that you go ahead and take a look at the way that Dearness Johnson has really performed, and really to an extent, Hunt really hasn't burst onto the scene as some would like throughout this preseason, despite being given the chances so far. A little bit of that might be the offensive line, but at the same time, if he did have that hernia injury, then possibly that might be what's kind of limited him a little bit, though he has looked smooth in practice.
Mac Robinson is with us. What a great football name that is. Why didn't you become a football player with that name? Mac Robinson?
If I could, I would. If I could, I would. The second I stepped on the field, I knew that being in the press box was for me.
Well, you're doing well with the Orange and Brown Report. We'll get to BP from Pepper Pike when we get back. West 140th Street in Cleveland is one location, of course, of Northeast Factory Direct. Then you got Freeway Drive in Macedonia. That's the new one, as well as Lakeland Boulevard in Euclid. That's the old B&B appliance store. And they've got extensive selection of high-quality semi-custom kitchen cabinets. Save 60 to 70% compared to the big box stores. No gimmicks, no deceiving blowout sales, no retail nonsense. Just 3 big bare-bones stores and warehouses filled with the same stuff that you're going to get elsewhere, except there's one significant difference. All the items are going to be at half price or less at Northeast Factory Direct. Check them out at northeastfactorydirect.com. Northfield Park is the place to go. You've got the big Sunday in September coming up. And that features 8 $300,000 championship races totaling over $2.5 million in purses. Post time for the first live racing event begins at 6 p.m. Enter to win Mally's chocolate bars. Just come in. The first 1,500 guests will get a bar with a mystery ticket inside for either cash or prizes. Limit 1 per person, 18 years and older, please. More games and food trucks and live music by Rick and Sharona. Much, much more at Ohio Super Night at Northfield Park, Sunday, September 1st, where it's free admission, free parking every day. We'll come back. Mac Robinson is with us. We'll get to your phone calls. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
No other company or product can match the features, benefits, and warranty of an authentic Nature Stone floor.
We had a horrible storm that flooded our basement.
We had to take out that nasty moldy carpet.
And we never want to have to go through that again. That's when we called Nature Stone.
And with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, you will never have to replace your basement flooring again. Get Nature Stone installed by the end of August and save up to 50%. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at baker-mayfield.com. It's not just a floor, wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
These guys sure look good when nobody's guarding them.
Oh yeah, definitely breaking their ankles on that one.
So what do you think? You got Landry, Jarvis-Landry. You got Beckham. What do you? We haven't seen Beckham catch a pass yet in a game situation, but everybody thinks he's the best receiver in the history of the Cleveland Browns. A little too early to anoint him that.
A little too early, sure, but at the same time, I think it's pretty fair. I think it's pretty fair so far.
You ever hear of Paul Warfield?
Yeah, I've heard of Paul.
Okay, just wondering.
Oh yeah. You know, the millennial in me, I know it's a little bit difficult, but
I'm just wondering. I mean, is he injury prone? Is this something they have to watch all year long, or circumstances?
I think that it's circumstances because we haven't seen back-to-back injuries of the same ilk for
Right.
Beckham, and most of the time it's some of those freak injuries that you end up seeing. But once you see those repeat injuries, that's where you get worried. But honestly, I think that Beckham is going to be fine. I think he's going to be fantastic in orange and brown.
You worried about the lack of cohesiveness with the quarterback Baker-Mayfield, or will they work that out, or have they worked it out?
I think that if they haven't already, I think that they will work it out. And honestly, I really do think that taking a look at the way that Baker throws and the way that Baker likes to pass, I think that he and Beckham actually line up perfectly. So I don't think it would take that long getting used to each other when it comes down to it.
Well, why? Because Baker's, if he's a little bit off, that's almost perfect for Beckham?
A little bit. I think that they like to throw the same type of routes where Baker likes to throw those quick passes, those slants over to
Right.
Beckham, and Beckham loves those slant passes. He actually complained a little bit about not getting more of those when he
Right.
was in New York. So for him, this is about kind of the perfect mashup between the two.
Mac Robinson is here. He's with the Orange and Brown Report. And so we know about these two guys. What about the rest of the receiving crew as we know it today?
I mean, obviously, Jarvis-Landry, I think his job is safe. I think that we can go ahead and call that right now. I know, no spoiler alert for everybody. But Rashard Higgins has looked extremely improved, I think, from year 2 to year 3. I think that he's made a giant leap, in my opinion. And I also think that he's one of those receivers who plays very well in single coverage. And I think that for him, being able to go ahead and have that single coverage because of Odell Beckham, because of Jarvis-Landry, I think that he's going to excel this season. And then also you look beyond it, I mean, that's the biggest unknown. I think that you're looking at a Derek Willis to possibly make the back end of the roster. Damian Ratley was a 6th-round pick by this regime. I think that he makes the roster as well. And then you get into the question marks. I mean, Ishmael Hyman, he's somebody who's been a question mark to make the roster, as well as a deep threat, especially in Antonio Callaway's suspension too. He seems like a good fit. But you also have Braxton Miller as well, the late addition. We talked about him a little bit earlier too. But really, I think that overall, this back end of the roster is really interesting to see who makes that final cut.
Let's go to the phones. Let's go to BP, who's in Pepper Pike. BP, how are you tonight?
Hey, Les, how are you and Mac doing?
We're doing great. Because you know why? Because after tonight, we don't have to talk about exhibition games.
Yeah, are you guys going to go from the studio down to the game? I hope not.
I have a lovely family room that I can sit in tonight and watch.
Sounds good. Sounds good. I'll be watching at least the first half of the game just to see, some of the second stringers and whatever third stringers. I heard Rashard Higgins is going to play in the game for some reason, and maybe some other guys here and
Well,
there.
you got to have somebody.
Does, Greg Joseph,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But I don't know if they're going to play guys like Taki and Mac Wilson. Do you know anything about those type of guys playing tonight?
Well, Taki's hurt, right?
I think so. I thought there was a chance that he plays tonight, but I think you'll see a lot of Mac Wilson as well, trying to get him a little bit more snaps and get him more playing time as well.
What else,
so
BP?
like Les's joke from back when the Browns had their draft, he likes some little Taki and some red wine.
Taki from...
Then I came in with the line, and Greedy Williams sounds like a barbecue joint.
Right. Well, Taki, I think, is from Walla Walla.
Yeah. But I did want to mention, I was looking at the Browns' salaries today online, and sort of sorted them from the highest salaries down to the lowest. And there's a guy, T.J. Carey, he's making about $6 or $7 million. He's a backup cornerback. He looks like, I'm sure he's a decent player, but he could be a guy, in my eyes, that might get cut just because he's, sort of a fringe player and he's making a lot of money. What do you think of that prediction of T.J. Carey not making the cut?
I mean, honestly, I think T.J. Carey, he's mainly going to be a slot player, but at the same time, he's actually looked very good for this defense as well. And on top of that, too, he really seems like the kind of glue, especially for a Steve Wilks, where he's going to be running that 4-2-5 defense, where they utilize 5 defensive backs most of the time. So Carey's actually going to be getting a lot of playing time. So I actually think that he's a pretty solid bet to make the roster. I get what you're saying with the cut money. An interesting bet, I would say, for a possible cut is Morgan Burnett, possibly, because I do think that despite him being the veteran, too, I think that there's a possibility that they could go for an upgrade if there's somebody available.
Is that a bad signal to send out if he doesn't make it?
I don't know if it's that. I think that Jermaine Whitehead has actually looked pretty good. And I think that Eric Murray is somebody who could take on a little bit of a bigger role possibly in that 4-2-5 defense that Wilkes loves to run.
Is it? You said Gilbert's getting the start tonight. Is it possible he overtakes Stanton as the second string, or is this to solidify the third unit?
I think this solidifies his spot as a third quarterback. I think that's what you're mainly looking at. I think Drew Stanton, I mean, in my opinion, I think Drew Stanton is the glorified quarterback coach. And I think that if you need to go to a quarterback to play, I think you're going to Garrett Gilbert over Stanton.
Did Gilbert solidify his role by being Baker's good friend growing up?
Well, I certainly think that helps. I think that's not going to do any that's not going to be anything bad for Baker in that case too.
Right. Anything else, BP?
I wish I was friends with Baker-Mayfield, then maybe I'd get on the 53-man roster.
Yeah, I think you would. I think you would.
If I was like his barista at Starbucks on Chagrin Boulevard.
I've seen you throw the ball. I don't think you have a chance. Nothing
Yeah,
personal.
you're probably right.
All right, BP, enjoy the game.
Take care, guys.
If that's possible. Am I too cynical?
I mean, I think that it's going to be...
Am I giving it the proper disrespect?
I think you're just giving it a hint of it, just not too much, but just a little bit,
It comes from years of complaining about having to pay for the full price for an exhibitions. I'm just getting it off my chest now.
I understand it. I mean, coming from a guy who his first game was an exhibition game, so I mean, hey.
Did your parents tell you that, or did you find out some other way?
No, I knew that because that was the once again, I'm aging myself here, but that was the coin flip game between Charlie Fry and Derek Anderson. So that gives you a little barometer of where I jumped in.
I have not heard it referred to as the coin flip game, but we all know what that means.
Yeah, exactly. Those were the dark days. Those were the dark times.
No, dark times is 0-16.
That's true, too.
216-575-0403. Mac Robinson is with us tonight if you'd like to get in and talk to him. The Cleveland Sports Hall of Fame will open up its doors to 6 new members coming up. That's real soon right now, the 18th of September, a Wednesday night at Landerhaven. Otis Chapman, racquetball and great softball player. John Malloy, hockey. Tony Miller, basketball. Tom Lucci in tennis, and Urban Meyer, football, will join us, as well as Rob Moss, golf. All at the Greater Cleveland Sports Hall of Fame. Tickets available 216-241-1919 or go to admin@clevelandsportshall.com. We'll take a break. We'll come on back in a moment. 216-575-0403. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had 2 choices. I was accepted into a 4-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program has been recognizing role model students and teachers since 2007. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Supporting Education. There, you can nominate students in kindergarten through 12th grade as academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as the Teacher of the Month. Every school that participates is eligible for the School of the Year. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family cool this summer,
let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant, whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling. Find them at 440-449-HEAT.
No other company or product can match the
Well, there you have it, the best of Baker-Mayfield. I don't think we've seen the best yet, right?
Yeah, no, I think he's saving the best for September 8th.
Yeah, that would be nice. Are we buying into the hype too much as fans?
Honestly, I don't think so. I really
Is the real
don't.
deal in your mind?
I think it's the real deal. I think that the kind of balance that you're seeing between Nick Chubb as well as the receivers on the outside, I think that it's you can buy into it. I think that you can buy into it. My only worry, like we talked about before, was the offensive line.
Yeah, the interesting thing about it is over the years, even when the Browns were bad, there were camps out there, one quarterback versus the other. Once he came in against the Jets, this is universal acceptance of him.
Yeah, I think that we shifted over from quarterback to kicker at this point now. So we got to have some kind of competition.
Somebody. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Reynoldsburg, Ohio, where Mike is standing by. Mike, first-time caller, I believe. How are you? Oh, Mike left.
Oh, wow. All right.
And we'll get him back. We'll get somebody else back. That's a good point, the kicker. Did Seibert win the job last week? Or is it still up for grabs tonight?
I think that I believe Greg Joseph should be going for the job tonight. I think he'll have his shot tonight. But I think there's a very realistic shot that Seibert might have sealed the deal last week, especially getting that long kick. I believe it was 54 yards off the top of my head. But that was the longest that he has had in a game, period. So for him, I mean, that's really encouraging, especially given the early struggles and the mental struggles that he's had with it.
If I'm Greg Joseph, I say, don't give me a 54-yarder here. And if you get close to the end zone and you have the ball, just fall down on about the 3.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Settle for the field goal.
Give me the chip shot.
Give me the chippy. It is amazing. I heard let me see if I got the number right, that last year in the NFL, out of however many games there are for each team and multiplying by each team again, 73 games were decided by 3 points or less. Does that sound high to you or low to you or about what it should be?
I think
or about what it was?
I think about what it should be. You want a lot of competitive games, especially in the NFL, and really especially, too. I mean, we talk about some of the unsung heroes for teams as well, and kicker might just be that, where, I mean, the guy might not necessarily be the one who stands out to you the most, where you look at some of the wide receiver highlights. I mean, I'm not sure how many kicking highlight tapes you're going to be seeing on YouTube, but at the same time, I mean, being able to go ahead and see some of these guys who will make the difference between having that record be that 10-6 or that 9-7.
You will see kicking highlights if it's a women's soccer player who can kick for 55.
That is true, too.
All right, we found Mike from Reynoldsburg. Hello, Mike. How are you?
All right, gentlemen, how you doing?
Okay, what's going on?
How much? You touched on it a little bit earlier. Mac, am I a little bit too optimistic in thinking that the Browns are going to average between 30 and 40 points a game, or is that just too much?
Wow.
I mean, I think that 30 to 40 points I will gladly take. But at the same time, I think that you're going to have some of those games where, like in Tampa Bay last week, where you're not necessarily going to have the offense clicking on all cylinders. I think that you might have a couple clunkers here and there.
No, but they're not going to let up on the gas.
No, they won't let up on the gas. I think that, especially going up against an LA Rams team, especially
you need all the points you can get.
Yeah, exactly, and especially when we've been talking about the guard dilemma that the team has been having. I mean, you're going to be going up against Aaron Donald at that point, so you're going to need to go ahead and deal with that, and you're going to have some of those games. But I don't know if 30 or 40 I would go that far. I think the offense is very good, but I think high 20s I think is realistic.
Mike, what do you want to put the win number at for this year?
I'm thinking around 10 or 11.
Yeah.
I actually think they're going to be like Kansas City Chiefs of last year, with a better defense.
I think
it is a better
fair.
defense.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. I think that the defense overall, especially the defensive line, has looked fantastic so far. And really, I mean, I love what I've seen out of the cornerbacks, especially Denzel Ward. I think Greedy Williams will end up starting by the end of the year. And I really think that this defense can be one of the top 10 defenses, I think, in all of football.
Mike, thanks for jumping in. Anything else on your mind?
Thank you.
Good to talk to you. Thank you very much, Mike from Reynoldsburg,
Yes,
Ohio. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Mac Robinson is with us, and he is with the Orange and Brown Report. And things get busy now.
Yeah.
Everything's been a prelude here.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've been talking about all of the different depth pieces and depth players, and now we're getting down to crunch time where you're going to have that That cut down day coming this Saturday. Obviously, you're going to see a flurry of trades. You've already seen one with Wyatt Teller, but I mean, there could be more possibly as other teams try to cut down. I mean, last year you saw DeVaro Lawrence, who was one of those players and ended up being that player for the Browns last year. Now, could you see another?
216-575-0403 is the number to call. Browns and Detroit getting ready to go. No live show for us on Monday because of the holiday, of course. I'll be on 92.3 The Fan tomorrow from 10 until 2, in with Andy Baskin, and taking Jeff Phelps' place for that day from 10 until 2. That's tomorrow. I've been telling you about Northeast Factory Direct. You know it's not a fancy place. It's a warehouse, 3 different warehouses, West 140th Street in Cleveland, Lakeland Boulevard, the old B&B Appliance in Euclid, and on Freeway Drive, that's the new one in Macedonia. And of course, you can shop first at northeastfactorydirect.com. And they're not set up like the big retail stores, but you're not paying for it to be fancy. When you buy from a big furniture store, you're paying for their rent, their decorations, furnishings, and more of the top of the furniture that you buy, but not at Northeast Factory Direct. Sokolowski's University Inn. Mac, I don't know if you know about this place. I haven't been there since this afternoon.
Actually, I have not. I frequent
What's the matter with you?
I frequent Tremont quite a bit. I have yet to stop in. I'll stop in.
Monday through Friday for lunch, 11 to 3. Friday and Saturdays for dinner. Best place in town, 5 minutes out of downtown Cleveland. And Interstate 71 is where you go. And you get off at the Abbey Avenue exit. Mike and Bernie Sokolowski's University Inn, the winner of the James Beard Foundation Award. Only 5 in the country win it each and every year. Mac and I return in a moment. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
No other company or product can match the features, benefits, and warranty of an authentic Nature Stone floor.
I had an epoxy-based sand paint on my floor that deteriorated, and that's why I called Nature Stone.
Why paint? It's expensive, it's ugly, and it doesn't last. Nature Stone is always affordable. It's beautiful, and with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, you will never have to replace your garage floor again. Get Nature Stone installed by the end of August and save up to 50%. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature Stone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a line. A long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Presque Isle Downton Casino now has sports betting. Use one of the 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet. Then watch your favorite games on our new HD televisions or visit our new sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downton Casino.
Myles-Garrett at training camp. I didn't know they let dogs out on the field. Who let the dogs out on the field?
Apparently Myles' friend.
All right, so I'm informed that Myles-Garrett will be in the ESPN, the magazine body issue coming on newsstands at September 6th. Do you happen to bring a copy by any chance?
I did not. I did
Good.
not.
That's good. 216-575-0403. We're just moments away from exhibition game number 4. Whew. Thank God there's no number 5 or number 6.
Yeah, exactly.
So, all right, your thoughts again. Let's give the news on on who? On the latest injured Brown player.
Oh, Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, Kareem Hunt.
Yes. So Kareem Hunt, once again, is getting surgery for a sports hernia. And so he will be undergoing surgery. He's not playing tonight, so you're not going to see him. It'll be the Hilliard and Johnson show. But it will be, he should be fine by the time he returns for week 10 from his suspension.
All right, so I have a procedural question.
Yeah.
He's suspended for the first 8 games.
Yes.
He's not allowed to be in camp in Berea.
Yes.
Starting when?
I believe on Sunday.
Okay,
I'm not sure the exact
so
day.
he can be there now.
Yeah, I think he's fine to be there now with the team, but I think that
don't you think it's kind of strange that the NFL would say you can't come and be with the team after a certain time, or you can't come back till the 8th after the 8th game, and yet they're doing the right thing. If he needs surgery or he needs some medical help, he's obviously there. But what happens on the follow-up to the surgery? I mean, UH is the reigning hospital of the Browns. You would think those doctors would be the guys to take care of him.
Yeah, and I think at that point, that's where the Browns can try to reach out and see what can they and can they not do at that point. See where is the line when it comes to his contact with the team, especially throughout his rehab process.
Yeah, but you clearly want your doctors to be taking care of him.
Exactly. Well, and that's what I mean, is that seeing, okay, are we allowed to use our team doctors with him and try to see where that line is regarding him and his involvement with the team.
All right, well, the object tonight is just get out of the game, out of the stadium without anybody on a stretcher.
Yeah, at this point, pretty much. You're hoping that none of the big names, anything like that, are going to be among those players. But at the same time, too, this is one of those stories where you could have the Isaiah Crowell story, where he was on the bubble for getting cut from the team, and he ended up having a huge 100-yard game against the Chicago Bears back in 2014.
Couldn't help but look at him again, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so tonight, 4 o'clock on Saturday is the cut-down time.
Yes.
Okay. Would you assume the coaching staff meets after the game and cross off some names already?
I don't know if it's tonight. I think it might be Freddie might let the team kind of take a breather after tonight.
Or do you think it's been made already?
I think that some names have been probably already made and some decisions have already been made. But I do think that by the time that you get down to Saturday, I think that tomorrow's going to be the big meeting day. And especially Freddie has talked about taking the time with each individual player because they've spent so much time here in Berea. I think that he's going to go through individually and take the time out to make sure that he's letting them know.
That's a nice touch because he doesn't have to do that.
Exactly.
Usually the Turk shows up at your room and says, "Give me your playbook and let's move on."
Pretty much.
That's pretty much it. All right, you're about to endure your first session live of How Come Quickies when we get back.
All right, sounds good. I'm ready.
Well, you have to also vote for them. You have to give them a grade.
Okay.
1 to 10.
1 to 10? All right.
Decimal points are okay. Fractions are okay. Like an 8.6 is okay.
Okay. I think I can handle that.
Northfield Park is the place for the Ohio Super Night, Sunday, September 1st. Ohio Super Night features 8 $300,000 championship races totaling $2.5 million in purses, actually more than that. Post time for the live racing begins at 6 p.m. They've got dice games and enter to win prizes, drawings from 6 until 10. You could win cash, Caribbean cruises, a trip to Las Vegas, or a 2019 Buick Encore, all from Northfield Park, where it's free admission, free parking every day. We're coming back in a moment. Mac Robinson is with us. More Sports and Les-levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
No other company or product can match the features, benefits, and warranty of an authentic Nature Stone floor.
We had a horrible storm that flooded our basement.
We had to take out that nasty moldy carpet.
And we never want to have to go through that again. That's when we called Nature Stone.
And with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, you will never have to replace your basement flooring again. Get Nature Stone installed by the end of August and save up to 50%. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at baker-mayfield.com. It's not just a floor, wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program has been recognizing role model students and teachers since 2007. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to OhioLottery.com. In the About section, find Supporting Education. There, you can nominate students in kindergarten through 12th grade as academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as the Teacher of the Month. Every school that participates is eligible for the School of the Year. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Welcome back. Mac Robinson is with us from the Orange and Brown Report, getting ready to grade How Come Quickies here in your initial showing here at More Sports and Les-Levine. Let's recap the, first of all, the Indians win today 2-0. Clevenger was tremendous. I don't care who he was playing, the Detroit Tigers or whoever. A win is a win. Now they fly on down. Hopefully they can make it in with hurricane warnings coming down throughout all of Florida. And that, of course, will be Hurricane Dorian. There was some talk of maybe playing a doubleheader Saturday and getting the heck out of here.
Yeah, that wouldn't shock me at all, honestly. Yeah. If I'm the MLB, I allow that.
All right, so the trade that was made, the Browns get Wyatt Teller. He's a guard. He was a 7th-round pick in for a 7th-round pick. The Browns get a 7th-round pick in 2021, so that's out there a little bit. And they give up, the Bills will receive a 2020 5th-round pick and a 2020 6th-round pick. So 2 picks in that 2020 draft go to the Buffalo Bills. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that for the Browns, they were loaded on draft picks, and especially too, adding that guard depth is huge, especially given the kind of issues that you've seen throughout training camp as well regarding that right guard situation, even the swing tackle possibly.
All right, let's check this out now. A couple of How Come Quickies. You can grade them. I don't have, normally we have some. You can just say them out verbally.
I got you.
This is from Wayne in Twinsburg, who claims to be an infrequent contributor. Are you old enough to remember the light beer commercials?
A little
Probably
bit.
not. How come Thursday lunch sports talk at Sokolowski is less filling and tastes great?
Okay.
You don't have to grade that one.
Okay.
You can grade this one from Toledo Mike.
Okay.
Ready for this?
Sure. Hit me with it.
From 1 to 10, you have to grade this. How come another name for a contortionist from the Philippines is a manila folder?
You know what? I'll give that a 7.4. You know, I think it's pretty solid, but not quite at the top of my scale.
I understand. And you don't have to grade on a curve. All right, Mr. Gullible checks in today. How come when the doctor told me to quit using Q-tips, it went in one ear and out the other?
Okay, I give that one an 8.5. I give that one an 8.5. That's pretty good.
Right.
That's pretty good.
Mr. Gullible continues with a double-barreled effort tonight. How come the recipe said to set the iron at 180 degrees, but then the iron door was against the wall and I couldn't get my food out?
Okay, you know what? Yeah, no, that's a solid 8. That's a solid 8.
Solid 8?
Solid 8.
What did you give the first one?
8.5.
All right, so that was the second one on the Mr. Gullible scale. John Patrick says, a frequent contributor, how come when French people swear they don't say, pardon my English?
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Does it get into the 9 region?
I think it's an 8.
I was going to say, just before you say it, we haven't given a 10 yet, so it's got to be spectacular to be a 10.
I'll go 8.9. I'll go 8.9.
Is
I think it's close.
A good number.
You've
established whether you're a high grader or a high grade moron.
Yeah, exactly.
Or you've established the bar for the next time you're here. All right, great to have you here. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you very much for having me on.
We've got to have a final comment. And the final comment would be the Browns record in 2019 would be?
11-5.
11-5.
I say 11-5.
That sounds like a title, a AFC North title.
I think so. I think so for the team. I've been seeing the bottom line. I think for the team is 9-7. I think that's if everything goes wrong. I think 9-7. I think that if everything absolutely goes right, you're looking at 12-4, if not better.
You know, what I've noticed this year, we've periodically asked people, callers or emailers, where would you put the Browns record-wise? I don't think we've had one going 8-8 or less than that. I mean that.
Yeah.
And again, it's unscientific, but it's it's a sign of what people think of this team, which now leads me to believe that you got a problem if they don't get off to a good start.
Yeah, well, I also will say, too, the start of the season I've looked at as really being that barometer for this team in the same way that the Twins had that stretch as well as the Indians are having that stretch currently with those tough teams. I think the Browns are having that at the beginning of the season. I think later on in the season you'll see them be able to get a little bit of momentum going into the postseason.
So you got the Browns winning the division.
Yep.
And a home field first round?
I think so. I think so.
If it's 11-5, it would be.
If it's 11-5, yeah, we're looking at that.
So you got a win to predict there yet?
I'm not going past that. That's uncharted territory for me.
You don't want to say that Super Bowl term, do you?
No, not yet. I don't want to jinx anything.
No guts.
Hey, I don't want to jinx anything. I'm a superstitious guy. I don't want to jinx anything.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for having me.
We'll do it again. Mac Robinson, the Orange and Brown Report. That'll do it for us. Don't forget the Weekend Winners with Dave Bacon tomorrow. And Monday, no live show because of the holiday. We'll be back Tuesday. Bud Shaw will join me. Thursday, it'll be the D-Man, Dennis Maniloff. Don't know who will be here Wednesday yet, but somebody will be here. And I'll be on 92.3 The Fan tomorrow from 10 until 2 with Andy Baskin and in for Jeff Phelps. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.